Hi everyone, it's me again with some updates, thoughts, reflections, and to discuss our plans for the future as we're about to begin week 10 of the course. It's a beautiful Monday morning here in uptown Minneapolis. I'm sitting at 5 Watt Coffee and I am here outside on the patio. So I hope all is good, and I will go over a few things that I wanted to talk to you about. First, I wanted to say that you've all been doing such a fantastic job on your reading journals in the past few weeks, and it really makes me happy. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work. So week 10 of the course is upon us. We're about to begin that last and final stretch of the course, and I want to make sure that we all know what's awaiting us and that we finish the course in style. This week we're starting to work on our podcast project. Okay? It's a 5-part project. I want to go over each and every part of it and make sure that we're on the same page and that you get it. So I'll begin by reading the instructions that you can also find on Canvas. It's titled The Big Picture of the Project. For your final project, you will create an edited podcast, the length of which should be anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes. In your podcast, you will integrate an explanation of the theory presented by Patricia Hewick and Susan Silby about legal consciousness and the role of law in everyday life, with excerpts from an interview you will conduct with a friend about how they go about dealing with the law in their everyday life. Ultimately, you are expected to produce a polished audio file which fuses theory and practice and serves as an example of how sociology can be utilized to produce a clear, creative, engaging work of art. So in short, your final podcast assignment is in a sense the equivalent of your typical final paper for a course, where you first discuss the theory and then you apply the theory to real life. In our case, the theory is the one presented in The Commonplace of Law. It's the book from which this week's chapter was taken from. We also read the introduction to this book in week 1 of the course. And the real life part, to which the theory will be applied, is an interview you will conduct with a friend about the role of law in their lives. So it's kind of like the paper you wrote for week 4. Remember when you talked about the role of law in your lives? Only you will conduct an interview with a friend and use that as your data, if you will. Now I want to go over the 5 parts of the project. So for part 1 this week, you are asked to describe the person that you will interview for the project and tell me a little about your relationship to them. So basically just a short paragraph, and the main idea here is to get you to start thinking about the project. Next week, you'll be asked to submit your interview guide, which is a list of the questions that you'll be asking during the interview. In week 12 of the course, in week 12 of the course, sorry you guys. In week 12 of the course, you'll conduct the actual interview with your friend or family member or whoever you chose to interview, and your assignment will be to submit the full and raw recording of the interview. In week 13, you will submit the edited podcast, okay, the one where you discuss the theory and the interview and the relationship between them. So in week 13, you'll submit the final product of the project. And finally, in week 14, you will listen to one of your friends' podcasts and reflect on their work. So that's the project. These are the 5 phases of the project. All of the above appears on the podcast project link that you can find on Canvas. So please go over it, make sure you understand it, and understand what the project entails and what's awaiting you. As always, if you have any questions, just let me know. And the only other thing that you need to keep in mind is that there will be a final exam on the last week of the course. A final exam on the last week of the course. That is week 14. And then it will all be over. That is it for today, folks. Keep sending me updates on your personal lives and what you're going through. It really makes me happy to know more about you. That's about it. Take care. Enjoy the day. I think I'm gonna go. Maybe I'll just go to the lake. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye. Ciao.